let's talk about Karmelo Anthony. Karmelo Anthony is the 17-year-old youth who stabbed what's the victim's name? Austin Metcalf. Stabbed Austin Metcalf allegedly over a chair. Austin Metcalf said something along the lines of, you gotta get out of here. This is not your place. And I think Karmelo Anthony said something like, try me, see what happens. And an altercation ensued, and Karmelo Anthony stabbed him in the heart. Now, I've listened to conservative commentators on the radio and other places talk about, well, of course he was looking for trouble because he brought a knife to a track meet. So he was looking for trouble. And quite frankly, I think that's sort of a weak argument, because I bring a pocket knife almost everywhere I go. I'm not looking for trouble. I just use it. I open boxes with it. I might cut a tag off something, whatever, right? It's useful to have. It's a tool. And we also talk about like open carry and concealed carry and carrying guns places. Now, Karmelo Anthony carrying a knife to a 17-year-old taking a knife to a track meet, maybe that sounds weird. I don't know. I probably would have taken that 17, taken a knife somewhere, maybe a track meet if I had one. But just because I have it doesn't mean I'm looking for trouble. That seems like a weak argument.
Yeah, it's a leftist argument.
It's a leftist argument?
Yeah, because that's what they say about guns. Oh, you don't need a gun everywhere you go unless you're looking for problems. And then conservatives push back against that. So
Kyle Rittenhouse, am I right?
Yes, you and your woke right are using the same arguments from the left.
Why y'all don't even like woke right?
He said it was weak. He said it was a weak argument in his defense.
Yeah, I said it me.
I was just kidding. I was just kidding.
Well, I know you all, but now there's a give, send, go, and they raised I don't know, $500,000, something like that. And they moved into a gated community and like bought a Mercedes. Kind of weird.
We don't know that. And when you click the tweet that's been going viral about this, and you look at the top of the tweet, it says it's from 2000. It's a screenshot of his mother's Facebook post, and the Facebook date is 2023. So it looks like they bought that in 2023. And everybody's sharing this as if it's fact. I don't think it's been vetted. It could be true, but the date on the top right corner said 2023.
Well, your favorite journalist, Benny Johnson, says, breaking, killer Karmelo Anthony is now staying at a $900,000 home in a luxury gated community, even though his family had requested the judge lower his bond due to financial issues. Neighbors are saying they aren't comfortable living by him. Murderers being rewarded. Benny Johnson, everybody.
Yeah, back to my original point. I think this situation is tragic. These are fucking excuse my French. These are fucking kids. They're 17 years old. But this seems like, to me, a reaction to Derek Chauvin, BLM, let's get retribution. It's a black suspect with a white victim. Let's bring the same level of energy to this fight that was brought to us in 2020. And I understand that, because that was it was, somewhat ridiculous, shrouded in some truth. So I sense that that's happening a lot. However, this kid doesn't really have much of a leg to stand on, unfortunately, or I don't know about unfortunately. The self-defense laws in Texas are pretty clear. You can't use disproportionate force, even in self-defense, to defend yourself. So if he had fear of bodily harm, the guy didn't have a weapon, I think. And you can't just take out a weapon and stab someone because you think you're defending yourself. So I think that this kid's probably going to jail for a very, very long time. And it's tragic in some ways for both the family of the victim and for this kid, who I don't know much about, but it sounds like he's going to be in jail for life.
Well, it's, he killed the kid. I don't know. Yeah, it's certainly tragic for him, but it's not equal footing here.
No, I'm not saying they're equal. I'm not saying they're equal. I'm saying both things are tragic. He's 17 years old. His brain isn't developed. He made he deserves some level of punishment for his actions, but
all right, you're the judge. What's the punishment?
Whew.
We don't even know the details of what happened.
Listen, Benny Johnson just called him a murderer, so he definitely is. All right.
This is my thing about all the commentary I've been seeing on social media about it. No one even knows. Like, has anyone produced a police report detailing what happened? Because initially there was a conversation about he was in the tent, the kid grabbed him, and then in response to him getting grabbed after he wouldn't get out of their tent, he pulled out the knife. I think the brother of Austin, I think his story somewhat aligned with that, if I'm not mistaken. We don't even know what the details are. No, I'm not saying any of that's justifying a murder of a 17-year-old kid at all. But to give a judgment on this other kid right now without even knowing the details of what happened, like there's also some story about how there was a fight the week before at a party that then carried over. Like there's so much out there that no one has heard anything other than the couple of social media tweets and then like the race baiters on social media who keep feeding into this fire. So like, I don't know. Unless anybody's got more details.
Again, I think that there's this goes to the fact that, you know, our culture is just being, you know, degraded constantly by the powers that be, media and politicians left and right. It's true that if the races were reversed, this would be a national outrage. Like it would be all over the place. And Austin Metcalf would be like,
well, to be fair, it is all over the place. Like,
yes, and I don't think that it's all over the place because the mainstream media, the corporate media, and the, you know, the power, the DNC want it to be. They're probably trying. It's all over the place because of social media, and social media is pushing it, and conservative commentators are pushing it. And I think it's accurate. I think that there would probably be riots if it was reversed. It would be a nightmare.
I mean, we don't have to speculate. I mean, we can, like I said, we can go back to 2020 and the George Floyd killing, and everybody rushed to judgment there too, and there were riots. And you're probably right.
We don't have to go back that far. Go to Daniel Penny. There weren't riots when he killed that guy. And I'm not saying he wasn't justified, but what I'm saying is it's an almost identical situation that is in more recent history, and people didn't riot. People were quite upset and blamed him immediately, threatened his life, all the horrible things.
Was it Daniel Penny, the guy that shot the Garrett Foster?
The Daniel Penny, the subway. New York,
Daniel Perry.
Perry. I'm sorry, Perry.
No. Penny, I think, is the subway, and Perry is the Garrett Foster shooter.
Okay, I'm talking about Daniel Penny, the guy who killed the guy on the subway because the guy was harassing people.
Yeah, who strangled the homeless guy that was a crazy person. Yes. Yeah.
There was outrage. There was a ton of news stories. There was, oh my God, this white guy killed this black guy while everybody sat idly by and did nothing. But there weren't riots. I mean, I think and this is what frustrates me with with whether it's the shootings, whether it's all this stuff. They're like, well, see, we don't riot when this stuff happens. The reason people riot when they do is usually because the person who perpetrated whatever it is wasn't immediately arrested. When the person's immediately arrested, you don't have that level of outrage. You get a lot of outrage, but you don't see it spill out into the streets in that same way.
Well, anything else? We got a lot to talk about.
Yeah, I would just say this ain't the one. Like, we saw where the left went on after George Floyd, defunding the police, all this crazy stuff. Don't fall for the same trap. People on the right.
All on this one. Same trap. All right. Okay.